We're going fishing. Crimpy's Fishing
News Talk
Show.
ZB, happy Saturday morning, and welcome to the Fishing with Regan and James show today. I'm Regan, and here's James.
I've got a good feeling about this, Regan.
I've got a really good feeling about this too. This is historically fishing with Crimpy.
Yep.
It's not often we don't have Crimpy here, but finally, yes! He's not here.
The room's got a good feeling about it, you know. There's sort of a...
It does.
Yeah, there's a vibe in the air.
And everyone, if you notice, is wearing shoes.
That's right, yeah. No, it's good. It's good not having to look at Crimpy wearing, obscure attire and last week's hunting gear and all these sorts of things.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. So, unfortunately for everyone else, not us, Crimpy's away for the next couple of weeks. So it's really the fishing show with Regan and James.
Yeah, no, like I say, I've got a good feeling about this, and
Yep.
I think it's going to be a new chapter, if you like.
Well, it's something that we've been striving to do, is get rid of the old grey mare. So we've finally done it. We're on top. We've made it.
The thing is, I think, though, Regan, is that, the show's probably going to be light on fishing talk, probably going to be light on fact,
Yeah, well,
light on quality content.
but thorough on truth.
Yeah, thorough on truth and heavy on piss taking.
Yeah.
Because he's not here to defend himself.
No, that's
So we
great.
can really say what we want.
All right, well, let's look around the traps over the last couple of weeks. Kingfish are still being caught off the Boulder Bank. Well, they're actually starting to raise their heads again. Jimmy Job of Jimmy's Baits, the bait bullets. His son Matthew hooked a butte over the week, just off the Boulder Bank there. It took him about 40 minutes of trolling, I think. And then his line went crazy. So they're out there, and that's more of a winter fishery, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's this time of year they're down here and they're right on our doorstep. But those bigger fish will be about in winter in some of the deeper areas off Stevens Passage and French Pass over the winter. So while they're accessible now, at the tail end of summer and the water's still warm, you've got to get out there and get amongst it.
Yeah.
So now it's good to hear that those boys have been doing all right. The fish over summer tend to be a bit smaller than the winter fish, but they're there in numbers. So
Excellent, and that's actually one of my up on my list now because I've crossed off the tuna. I've got to catch a kingy.
Yeah.
Got to catch a kingy.
Look, with your skills, Regan, anything's possible.
It is. That's true.
Yeah, so look, when Crimpy gets back, you'll have to organise that. I'd like to come along for a laugh and watch. I'll loan you my lucky gear again. If you play your cards right.
Oh, the old Andros. Yeah, no, that works well. No, we'll definitely sort that out and try and bag ourselves a kingy. Really interesting and quite exciting too. The snapper, the 30-pounder that was caught out Kaiteri.
That's right. That was a good fish, wasn't it?
It's a wicked fish. Now that would have been a great fight from a kayak.
Yeah, that's the special thing, is getting a fish like that out of a boat is an achievement in itself. But all the extra effort that goes into kayak fishing, that's a real feat. So you've got to. Obviously, you've got the struggles of limited space, limited room to move. Everything's multiplied on a kayak. The wave action's a lot stronger than it is in a boat. You're off balance all the time. Even little things like baiting up and that are difficult. So for him to go out there and get a superb fish like that, what a great effort.
Well, look out for the next issue of the fishing paper, because the man on a mission did it again. He went out and caught he caught us 20-something pounder.
Unbelievable.
I know. But here's a bit of a lesson for you. And it was Ali, I hope I get this right, Ali Norma. He was using some rather cheap gear, particularly the hooks. And he was saying that the fish were straightening out the hooks pretty much.
Yeah.
So it is worth investing in some good gear if you are going to go out and try and bag the biggies.
Yeah, that's true. The old snapper, they've got such a tough mouth. They spend their life crushing up kinners and mussels and picking things off rocks. When a fish gets to that size, it's got a big gnarly set of choppers on it.
Yeah.
And if you've got an inferior terminal tackle, you're really jeopardising your chances.
They've almost got like little round human teeth, don't they, when they get to about that big?
Yeah, they actually look a bit like Crimpy's. They sort of get that worn down, old, gnarled. If they could talk and tell stories.
I tell you. Hey, look, we're going to keep looking at what's happening around the region, because there are some great stories coming out. But if you are heading out on the big wet this weekend, we'll have a look at the tides next. Happy Saturday morning. It is News Talk ZB, the fishing with without Crimpy show. It's Regan here for the Fishing Paper and James Cameron from SiteCheck. We will have a look at the tides in a minute, but just a bit of a heads up. These Kontikis, which are amazing machines, if you haven't seen one, get down to Rabbit Island next Saturday. Excuse me. Sterling Sports are having a Kontiki Open Day next Saturday, Rabbit Island, 4 p.m. Rain, hail, snow, shine. You've got to be there. These are amazing machines, and actually we'll talk to Dave from Sterling Sports next weekend on the show. All right, if you are heading out onto the water today, Nelson, your high tide is 20 to 1. It's a 4.2 metre high tide. Havelock, high tide 27 past 12, 3.1. Crissells, high tide 25 past 12 with a biggie, 4.5 metres. Stevens, if you're heading out that way, high tide is 11 past 12 and it's a 2.4 metre tide. Westport, hello my hometown, 20 to 2 is your high tide, it's a 3.3. And Greymouth, high tide 20 to 2 and that's a 3.4 metre high tide. Good luck, and I hope your rod's got a bend in it.
It's good to see the big tides, for the long weekend.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to make for some good fishing conditions, and if the weather plays its part, which it looks like it's going to, it's shaping up, to be maybe a good Sunday and Monday to get out and have a fish.
Absolutely. They are quite big tides, though, aren't they? 4.5 at Crissells.
Yeah, that's a big
huge.
tide. Yeah, it's also good to remember. You get the low. So if you're into your, you get around the rocks and have a rockfish. Access suddenly opens up a bit easier.
Yep.
And if you're into your snorkeling and your power diving and getting shellfish. You've got access to that extra metre or two of beach or rock that you might not ordinarily have. So, it's interesting that the old moon, plays a bit of a big part.
It does. We've had full moon over the last couple of days, haven't we?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I think that's how it works.
That's why my palms are so hairy. It always happens.
Yeah, and that beard's getting out of control. You don't know a fellow called Michael J. Fox, do you? Hey, actually, speaking of the moon, did you hear about the new restaurant that NASA's just put on the moon for its astronauts?
No, I haven't heard about the new restaurant that NASA's put on the moon.
Yeah, well, apparently the food's great, but there's just no atmosphere.
All right.
That's shocking. Rightio.
Crimpy's here and can't
but the other good thing at the moment is the water temperature. We're just talking in the break about the water temperature here. And it's been really high. It's sort of up around that 19.5, 20 degree mark in Tasman Bay.
Yep.
And that's doing great things for the amount of feed in the bay. Obviously, those bait fish are, they're schooling up and they're chasing the plankton that's blooming and the smaller organisms and that in the water. And of course, these bigger things chasing those. So the fishery all round is looking pretty healthy out there. There's been a lot of, the bigger mammals coming in too. Around French Pass, there's been porpoises and bottlenose dolphins on a regular basis in and out of Elmslie Bay there. And of course, I've seen the paper, the orca coming down to Tasman Bay,
Great shot on the Fishing Paper Facebook page of that.
Yeah, that was good, Yeah, that was actually a superb shot that, I forget the name of the fella, but, to be out there paddleboarding and those to pull up beside you, that's pretty cool.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Would that be testament to the amount of... So that would mean that there's more in there to eat for these guys?
That's right. I think that's what it comes down to. It's good pickings out there for those big predators. So, particularly the old orca, they come down and chase the stingrays. Tasman Bay being fed by a few estuary areas. Yeah. The Waimea and the Haven, plenty of stingrays and flatfish around for them to feed on. So all round pretty good on that front. On the
you wouldn't want to hook one of those orcas, would you?
Well, it's not so much hooking them that's the problem; it's landing them. They don't tend to take too well to being gaffed.
No, I've seen that movie Free Willy. You can just ride them over.
Yeah.
Troll from the back.
Yeah, actually, if you were to ride the orca there, Regan, it'd be an interesting photo.
It would look like two whales making love.
Yeah, it'd be some sort of documentary. We have to ring up old Richard Attenborough.
It's like that movie Life of Pi that's out at the moment, Life of Pies. I think that's what it would be called, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be a documentary on yourself.
All right, so hey, look, we're going to go into a break in just a tick or two, but there are still a lot of action happening around the region and where to fish over the long weekend. Who's hooking what? Who's hooking what where? We're going to have a look at that right after the break here on Fishing Without Crimpy on News Talk CP. Show, Regan and James with you today. Crimpy is away on a hunting trip for the next 2 weeks.
That's what he told you.
That's what he told me. I don't believe it. But apparently he's in Australia shooting and...
Hunting what is the question? Hunting what?
I don't know.
Hunting down new advertising channels with fishing paper, maybe? Hunting down great bars?
I hope he's not hunting down new staff. I'm stuffed.
Depends how the rest of the show goes.
He will be when he hears
I hope they weren't recording in the break.
Hey, I just want to mention too, that giant blimmin' almost world record trout that was caught, was it? Was it in Canterbury?
Tekapo, yeah. Submarine.
Oh, my goodness.
Submarine.
She was huge.
The Russian nuclear sub.
Yeah, I tell you, man, and we had that on the Facebook page. I'm gonna get on my soapbox here.
Right, here we go.
Okay, is that all right?
Here we go.
Well, we placed it on the Fishing Paper Facebook page. We reach, around about 30,000 people every week.
Yep. Carry on.
And we pay something like that up on, and then you get the odd people come up and go, oh, should have let that one go. There was one guy underneath the trout one, and he said, why do you have to kill everything that's bigger than your last fish to please your own ego?
Yeah.
Looked at his page. Fish killer. Full of killing fish. So, I kind of felt like typing underneath, dude, if you don't like it, don't join the Fishing Paper Facebook page.
Yeah, don't like the heat, get out of the kitchen.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just get down from my soapbox now.
Yeah. No, look, just touching on that, I think the thing is that it's very easy to judge when you see a photo, but when you're actually out there, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to sound like a fishing hero, but when you're out there doing it, each fish is different, and when you do put all the effort into landing a big fish, there's all sorts of factors that can contribute to why you have to take it. It might be dead on arrival, when it comes to the surface. It could have been, could have some sort of injury or whatever. There's all sorts of reasons why you may have to take that fish, and you may choose to take that fish on the day. So it comes down to each angler. And I think each angler has to make that call. Well,
I think there's much more of a responsibility now, and people are taking it a lot more serious than they did sort of 10 years ago.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're seeing, recreational fishers are seeing that there is some depleting stock in some places, and they're helping to support that. And I know, back in my grandfather's day, it was... I caught 80 snapper, I'm going to take them home, can't eat them all, chuck them on the garden.
Yeah.
So I think people are a lot more aware of it.
How many of those veggies did you actually eat?
Well, there's none. Pies. There's stories. My family, of course, growing up as a small boy on the West Coast in Westport there, my father would go down and catch whitebait, and there were some times when he was a young fella that he couldn't keep them all in a bucket. He had to tie knots in his waders and fill his waders, you know, and then they'd get home and they couldn't give away enough, so they'd tip it on the garden for...
Yeah, well, see, now you can actually go to a small resort in Thailand, I think it is, and you can actually pay to sit there and have little fish pick and swim all over your body and clean you. But it's been happening for years on the coast. It's actually a common thing down there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it still happens, but if you in the whitebait season, you hit the buller and you see some fella floundering around his waders full of whitebait, you'll know what he's up to.
Yeah,
he's getting it clean, a West Coast polish.
He's getting a below the waist detox. Okay, so we've got a long weekend ahead and plenty of really good fishing. Who's catching what where?
Yeah, it's there's been some great teraki around Derville. Particularly around the bottom end of Derville there, so if you're around there, hit the teraki. There's also been some really good catches of blue nose apparently out in the Nicholson Trench off Wellington. So while it's nice set of weather, if you can get out to these places, do it. Some of the other places that that are worthwhile heading to, the Karangi Shoals out off northwest Nelson there, Bushett Shoals out off Kaikoura, another really good spot. These are places that are sort of you got to travel sort of 30 odd nautical miles from the nearest ramp to get there. So while the weather's good, you got to do it. And there's been some obviously the salmon. The salmon's been great this year down in Canterbury. They'll be pushing their way up through Lake Maparika down on the coast as well. So hit them.
Hit them up.
Here.
All right, well, there's lots of good fishing to be had. We've got to fly on out of here. The April issue of the Fishing Paper is out next week. Okay, we've got the Mayday safety feature in that, so make sure you do grab that because we cover all aspects of safety through that through this time. James, thank you very much for coming in. I think I should invite you back next week.
Yeah, look, we don't need Crimpy.
No.
We don't need him.
He's
a has-been.
He's had his turn.
I might be sacked up.
We'll see you next week. Happy fishing, a happy long weekend.
See you later.